Ciao guys, I'm gonna show you a few nice builds for Path of Exile 2. I never played PO1, but I spent more than 1500 hours in PO2 and I wanted to show you my mercenary builds, and I wanted to show you a very nice lightning spears build with Deadeye, which everybody knows already. I'm gonna show you how to make it from insane to very crazy insane. Then I'm gonna show you some curiosity like the swords, and I'm gonna show you gameplay with the swords, limited as it is, but I think it's really fun. I'm gonna show you that also. The items for each builds are not the items you need to use it. You can use every items you like, they will work. Of course, to get to insane, to crazy insane build, you need items that are very cool, very strong and very powerful. And the only way to do that is to make currency. I want to explain my mercenary build because I think it's super cool and actually very powerful. This was my items that I collect at the end of my build that are kind of powerful. The ring, for example, the Astramantis, I think it was cool to have in foil. With the mercenary, I didn't follow any tutorial or anything. I just try a lot. I try all the gems, see what the effect was. I did study a lot of hours to make this mercenary in my way. So these are the best, I think, option for my kind of build, which is power, destroy everything, everything became ashes with lightning, fire and ice. That's the build I love. So that's the way I think it's one of the best mercenary I ever made of the two. So in this case, my elemental conflux is not on. The companion, I was very lucky because a few hours later they did a patch and you could not find anymore a companion like this. Is a quadrilla and which has Aura, which is, I think, the best modifier you can find. I love to be fast. Fast is the best in the game. So in this case, for my mercenary, I don't use blink. I don't use elemental conflux. I had really a lot of fun trying all the skills, but then my conclusion was these skills active for my mercenary. I think there are different ways to enjoy the game and use different skills. In these builds, of course, there are very nice and expensive items like the Prism of Belief. I have 3+ level of all galvanic shard skill, are the skill that I use mostly for the mercenary. Everything goes around the galvanic shards and to push the lighting damage as much as I can through the skills and through the passive tree. But there is the glacial bolt. Actually, it's a dualism, the glacial bolt and galvanic shards. I use both. It depends in the occasion, but they're super useful and they both do the same kind of DPS, which they are buffed with a buff when I kill a rare, for the rite of passage, or for the heavy bells if you had the heavy bells. Another thing which is very cool and is new for me, I never use it in my early access, I couldn't find it. I did kill Orlot many times, so I did find actually a reliquary keys of Orlot, and I did find this, and actually more than one, is the Heroic Tragedy Timeless Jewels. The Heroic Tragedy Timeless Jewels is very, I mean, at least for me, kind of hard to decipher because the remembering number of the song worthy in the line of Orlot, in the line of Medved, in the line of Vorana, I think is the other one. I try to put in different slots, and they always changes my notable passive and nodes near. They completely change. So it give me the impression that I cannot predict actually before I try what's gonna be the outcome of these jewels, but I can say it never put me down. It was one of the best discovery. They're really strong and they're really crazy, and they were kind of the revolution of the builds. So in this case, the jewels is pushing up 40% more elemental damage. It really changed the notable in a very stronger way, I think, at last. So it's very nice outcome to try if you want to make your build insane. Another build I wanted to show you is the Lightning Spears Deadeye. The particularly in this case, it's of course the items, they're really strong, and I mix it with a new Palm of the Dreamers, which give you the glow shrine kind of effect, which is really powerful. Lightning Spear it's crazy powerful already, but with the Palm of Dreamers it became insane, and we stopped to insane for now. I did try my Temporalis, I pushed max, his max stats is almost 2 seconds, and then I put Ingenuity, which is very powerful in this case. The boots are very crazy also, of course, they're all very good items and very expensive items, which I think you should be able to trade item like this after a few thousand hours. I'm gonna show you basically the point of the passive tree that I activate, the diamond that I use it because of my builds suck mana a lot, so I have Ether Flow that gives me the mana when I move fast, and these are all the notable and connection I did to push my DPS at best. I'll be honest, I didn't think about it, protection. I wanted to destroy everything, but actually it's very fast character, and even my protection is really low. I'm gonna show you the stats of my character. The stats are very low, very it's like you don't have even the energy shield, but I was able with the Mercenary first in Dawn of the Hunt to unlock all the points to the pinnacle boss, all the ultras point, so it's very strong. With this character I started to gain a lot of currency. There are thousands of tutorials about this, but I wanted to make something really like crazier than this. So when we get here, the magic actually happened. In this case also I use an Heroic Tragedy Timeless Jewels, which is different from the jewels of my Mercenary. I did put here, and it changed me completely all the notable inside the circle. We had before the attack speed and now the notable, the Boreana's Fury became like 40% increased projectile damage, gain 1 rage on melee hit. I don't care. Then it gives you 40% increased cold damage and plus 15 to dexterity. Very powerful nodes, I think, that they were before. But I mean, I get less attack speed and I get 40 increased cold damage and 40 increased projectile damage. It's like 80% more than I usually get here. If you check this, which I deactivated, it was 40% increased lightning damage. It's really near. I mean, you can use that too, to have 40 increased lightning damage and 50 plus to strength, which are not crazy number, you know, we know. When actually you put on the table, they're not crazy. But all together, near, it's crazy, okay? Here also, we get war tactics, which is 20 increased mana regeneration rate, which for me is okay, and also 40% increased physical damage, which is insane. And then physical damage 10% to curse, and then West control 40% more increased lightning damage, not more, sorry, but 40 increased lightning damage, 15 plus strength. Crazy. Because we did get 40% lightning damage, 40% lightning damage. We have 40% lightning damage on the left also, which I don't have active, but made a number. And we have 2 more 40% plus physical damage. It's something. So these heroic jewels made my character crazy actually. And then I stopped there. I have deep trance in this case because of my megalomaniac diamonds. I changed my diamonds so many times in this league. I don't even remember what I have on. I remember only the last. But I have deep trance, which I don't have for my last most incredible character. I'm gonna explain you later. So my mercenary was perfect, I have to be honest, was perfect for online planes, because you can do tier 16 and then you can go to the tier 16 with parties and you die. You can die so easily, but this was very strong even for parties with very strong higher builds. Like levels 97, levels 98, level 99, because I never played before with an 100 leveled character with in a party. This is also the lightning spears. It's crazy fast. It destroys everything, no matter who is in the party, what level or crazy people in the party. This character will always make more DPS than everybody else. Always, ever. I mean, like, no doubt. It's great. This is how much you can reach, and actually even more. I didn't check constantly, but this is very nice to reach without all the buff active, and with all the buff active with the rite of passage that push the skill speed, the movement speed, and the extra damage of lighting, or in this case also the extra damage of cold with the rite of passage of owl. I mean, with that became incredibly more DPS and destructive. You always need to understand that you have anyways the Palm of Dreamers in the other hand, so it's gonna make a lot of damage. And there is one other things. no matter how much DPS you do, if Elon itself pays someone to make the build and that does million of DPS, if you cannot play, you need to know how to play. You need to know the boss. You need to try pinnacle bosses many times to understand them. I mean, for me, I'm not a crazy genius of anything, so it takes me actually really 1,500 hours to make a build that could two-shot a pinnacle boss. One shot in some cases, like Orlot, could be one shot. Trial Master, it's half of one shot. I think that the trial boss are really easy at some point. Even Zarok, the temporal, is really easy if you can reach the trial, the end of the trial of all the rooms without being touched, which is possible actually with honor resistance and skills, which are how much you're good to play. When you play one things for months, you know you should be able to do it. If you reach Zarok, it's quite okay not to be touched and win and get a temporalis. It's not impossible. There are legends, there are very hard bosses, which they actually are. It's very complicated things to do, but after a lot of crazy hours, you can do it. You know, they are not impossible to kill. You know, like. So this is my way to take this build of lightning spears, because at some point everybody wants to make a lot of currency, because you need to buy the best item, you need to show your friends the best item, you need to grind thousands of hours to make a very good collection, and then the league change and you have to start again. I mean, so you have to be very fast. I wanted to make a crazy amount of currency and valuable items. I want to collect very cool stuff, which I did, some of them in the end. So I said, okay, I'm gonna sell everything I have that I can sell on the trade, make currency to make this build even crazier. So what I did, I sold one of my temporalis, and I did trade for two things that were revolutionary for this build. So it's the same build. I used to have the temporalis foil on it, but there is a few changes. So in the other build, I had my megalomaniac diamond with deep trance on it, and header flow that gives you more mana, and everybody know what deep trance does. So I give you 8% more of attack speed and 10% less cost of mana for skills. So it's very useful, very cool, notable, one of the best, I think. I usually do this for every character. So I said goodbye to deep trance, which I still miss it, and I did like this. I take out my temporalis, and I did trade for my temporalis this incredible vile robe, which is kind of incredible. There were another one for 800 divine. That was my budget at the moment to sell my temporalis, my basic normal temporalis. Energy shield is 1954, which is super higher. There was another one with higher energy shield. They were reached like 1,200 of energy shield, but I was in doubt because it didn't have spirits inside. So I said, okay, if I get this, I can have spirits, tons a lot of energy shield, more a good protection. Actually, I'm not gonna be fast to teleport like the temporalis. Every second I could teleport, and now it's every 3 seconds I can teleport. I did pull some socket on my Alpha House Armor Cap that give me increased cooldown recovery rate, so it helps me not to have a temporalis in this case. So I put actually the elemental conflux inside. So I use the herald of Ash, the Herald of Thunder. I deleted the Herald of Ice to use Elemental Conflux and the Blink. So there I needed a lot of spirits. And then the best was this Astromantis, which is not crazy higher, but enough higher to destroy everything. Is 118 to all attributes, plus 7 to all attributes as a lot. The beauty of this, which is very kind of unique one, Astromantic, was +1 to level of all skills, so it push even more my DPS with my skills. And the allocate checks of trades, what it does is increase the 2% damage for every 5 of your lower attributes. What I did is to change my Megalomaniac Diamond with Deep Trance on it and Ether Flow, and I did find a Pure Power Megalomaniac Diamond plus Ether Flow, always to give me help with mana. And then I put Jacks of Trade, so I have the Pure Power not with my Astromantis or in Steel Amulets, but I have it on my Megalomaniac Diamonds. I have to put aside my Deep Trance to have Jack of Trades and +1 level of all skill. Then of course the ring I have, which is the only one I have in all the game, and I share with all my character because it's so expensive to have a ring like that. Push up all the flat damage for cold, fire, and thunder and lighting. So of course, what's happening here? This build is already insane because it's a dead eye with a lightning spear, and the dead eye accumulate like tailwind and velocity for every to max 10 stacks for every movement you do, for every attack you do, you know. And after you reach the 10, you are 10% more faster. When so it's with with this kind of boots, you already have 55% movement, more percent of movement speed. Then you have the tailwind because you're dead eye for 10 stacks, so you reach other 10%, so you get 65% then you have the first, for example, rite of passage of the stag, which you get activated and give you 10% movement speed and 50% more skill speed, etc. And then you have the cat that activate also after the second rare monster that you find, so you get actually like 85-90% more movement speed every few seconds, which is insane, like crazy. And of course, more movement speed, more attack speed, more skill speed, more palm of damage, flat sheet of damage on the ring, Astromantis +1 levels, the attributes they give you Astromantis, Jack of Trade they give you Astromantis, Pure Power they give you the Megalomaniac Diamonds, of course the Prism of Beliefs that give you +3 of Lightning Spear skills, the Elemental Conflux, the Herald of Thunder, the Herald of Ice, the Herald of Fire, sorry. It's a lot mixed together. The Palm of Dreamers, they give you the Chaos damage and destroy, obliterate. There's not even the ash of the monster, they are obliterated. So it's a crazy build. I understand it's very expensive, but I mean, I have just one very good ring, which is crazy expensive, but not one mirror ring. I traded for 1,000 divines, and the boots are very expensive. I understand. They're very expensive, but they are one boots. The Calandra now is very cheap, It always was in the new league. And then the Wild Robe is kind of expensive also, but is one of item per item. I don't have, all the item for every character, of course. But I think that if you do some kind of good economy, which is a complicated games, you need to understand the economy part of Exile 2. You can do it. It's a serious game. I love it like that. Every time you put your spirit skill inside the aura of the chapter, they'll always come for free, so you don't have to pay the spirits that are indicated on the gem. This is my Atlas point. There are few things very important at Atlas point. I modify my Atlas point, the principal one, the map Atlas point, many times. I went from strong boxes to try a lot of strong boxes, then to try a lot of wisp, which they get me the rite of passage 2 times. I explored the essence also. Then I already explored the rogue, and now I'm back to the rogue. But there are a few things that are super important that everybody that wanna make a lot of drops and currency should put inside the Atlas. You need to activate these unstable energies. Is the most important node because it multiply everything in the map, and you use the table effect, 8% increase effect of precursor table. Here, same here, 3% more effective explicit modifier and waystone. But of course, these 2-3 nodes are gonna make the game much more harder if you're not ready. You need to be ready for that. It's like when you have Headhunter belt that gives you the power of the monster, and then you teleports you inside really a lot of monsters. If you don't have the power to you're gonna die. I unlocked all the pinnacle boss, blah blah blah. I was so good to do it. It was so painful, and it took me really like 100 hours for me. But there are genius that they can do in 20 hours. I don't know. It took me more than 100 hours to understand this game, and I'm serious. I remember I had more recordings about Zarok, but I couldn't find it. I'm not very organized, and I often delete it because I don't have much space anymore on my computer, or about this recordings. So I did put a lot of recordings of the Pinnacle boss to show that it's possible to make my shot. I don't always do, but you can obliterate any Pinnacle bosses, monster, things that moves on the game. Everything, you can obliterate everything. Quite easy. I mean, I love to learn the boss. Was always a trial at the beginning of the boss, but you can manage with this to obliterate everything in the game. I actually unlocked all the points of all the Atlas point map and all the Pinnacle boss point with my Mercenary, which is not even close strong like the Lightning Spear, not even close, but it's very cool and quite strong anyway. It can obliterate a lot of stuff. Maybe the tier 4 bosses Pinnacle are kind of harder than usual, but it destroys everything. It's so fun to use the Mercenary. So when you play a lot in Path of Exile 2, there is one moment, and just one in a lifetime, that you play in POE2, that something very cool will drop. You have to use that to create your new currency. And there are a lot of little nice drops, especially weapons, wands, stuff with a plus levels or something inside of it. Then you can sell for a little bit of divines, and that's how you create your little currency to the beginning. But then you have a very huge drop. For example, mine was the Rite of Passage months and months ago. I sold it and traded it to the trade, and I did my first 500 divines, and that was the only super big drop I had in all the game in 1,500 hours. And I wasn't poor anymore, and I start to build my build properly with the best item I can find it for my build. When you have a little bit of currency already, because you were crazy lucky in 1,000 hour to get some Rite of Passage, to get some heavy belt or whatever you get, you create a little bit of currency. Then, which it's something that I really like to do, is checking constantly when I can, of course, when I'm not at work and with other things. Check the trade. There are always some players that are gonna sell some crazy stuff for much less currency. Actually, it's something very common, I think, because I always find, maybe it's me, there are like a wolf around the trade, but I think this is very common. You usually find very cool stuff and powerful stuff that sell from very less divines, or that you need it basically to buy something like that. For example, the temporalis, you can find the temporalis from one mirror, but you can find a very cool temporalis, very high stuff from people that just want to sell it because they need very fast currency. That's the best trade you have to find. When you find it and you spend, for example, 500 divines for a temporalis that is one mirror, or which is possible, or 800 divines for a temporalis that is one mirror, you buy it with a trade with and then you resell it very high, as it is, as it should be, like maybe not a mirror, but you resell it for, you get like you trade it for 800 divines, and you resell it for 1,200 divines, you know. So that's how I make currency in POE2, honestly. But I'm gonna give you another example which is more easy. I found this months ago, this EV belt, which it rolls with 6 charms. So I said, wow, that 6 charms is very unique. There weren't a lot of them in the trade. There were maybe 5 of them, I remember. Some of them were, of course, you cannot use yet the 6 charm, you know, but an object like that is very research for people that are collector, like me, for example. So I did find something like that, and I was super lucky because there were 5, and for example, one were on trade for 3 mirrors, another one were on trade for 1 mirror, another one was in trade for 500 divines, and there was another one which very high stuff, honestly, on strength and dexterity, that were like 6 charm, and it was like traded for 150 divines. So I trade for it. I was super happy, and I posted on the chat, global chat, and a lot of people told me, hey, look, that items is really like super cool and nobody has it. It's really rare. You should sell it for a lot, or collecting, you know. So what I did buy it for 150 divines, and I traded again for 800 divines after a few weeks because I love that heavy belt. So that was, and the guy who bought it for me for 800 divine is selling now for 3 mirrors because it's crazy rare object. So that's the way I think after a lot of hours that you are inside the games, how to make the currency the way I do. Okay, I'm not very good for crafting. There are very cool people that they are master of craft and they can craft after a lot of currency mirror items. I'm not that kind of guy, but that was my way to make currency. Actually, you always need to have a bit of luck for start. Otherwise, you need to collect divines from scratches, from wands, from plus level items with skills with plus level, and you collect a few divines. You do the citadel, which the fragment are always very like kind of expensive. You can exchange with Alba with a few divines the fragment you get from the citadel if you are at start of the league, you know. And you have to be very fast because more divines you make it very fast to reach a mirror, it will be much less than the end of the league. So that's the way I usually do currency. Another thing which is crazy cool and we didn't see in the game often, I mean, I could not find any video about it, are the Zord. The Zord, there are legends in this Town of the Hunt League that the Zord were a bug. They first drop the incomplete, they are kind of a unique sword. They dropped in the Trial of Chaos months ago, and then they don't drop anymore, not even for mistake. So a lot of people think that we were discussing many times about this in global chat with a few friends. We were talking about a bug or whenever. They are super rare and they are called incomplete. I was able to find one incomplete corroded long sword that in this case is unique in all the game with 3 sockets. There were a lot of incomplete list of unique weapon you could have found in the game a few months ago. These weapons, they look insane. We find the flail, the holy flail, incomplete holy flail, which is another unique incomplete broadsword. Some people show me one actually incomplete traps that they think they will be able to be used in the next league when they will release maybe the druid. These are the sword I was able to collect. My friend is Kusola and he's a colleague of mine. We work together. He's a really nice guy. He was like leveling in the campaign, so I said, okay, I'm gonna use the sword, you use your things. I'm gonna check if the sword is playable, it's nice, fun. I have to say, it's crazy fun. Of course, it's limited, and in this case, the light is blue. I put the blue light when is the corroded unique longsword. So in this case, is the longsword. I'm gonna show you the Glyphfang Ultra Greatsword, which I think is the most good, crazy looking, insane weapon in all the game. There's nothing more cool than this fucking sword. Is the sword of Berserk for someone else is the sword of Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy. I'm gonna be honest, is none of that. None of them, because the sword of Cloud Strife has a different finish point, completely different. Is quite similar, and the shape is of course coming from Berserk, Gatsu from Berserk, but the design inside is completely different, is not clean as, but I have to say, I think the most similar is from Berserk one. So it's very similar to Berserk. It's super crazy and super cool, and actually it's very strong in my case. I did get the guy who traded me, did get very high modifier. It was amazing to get that, which is one piece. There are 3 of these in all the game. I know the other guy who has the other 2. Actually, they're very cool, they're very strong. This one especially is very fast and very strong. The damage I do... of course, it's not possible to do the maps like this if you are level 98, because at these times you have to be crazy fast, you want to... But, I mean, it's super fun. At this point, I don't have to level in anymore for now, maybe. So it's cool to go around with the sword and using it, even if it's not really comfortable, because it doesn't obliterate everything in less than 15 seconds. But it's nice to play like this, I have to be honest. It's very nice, it's very strong. If you use it for leveling you're gonna die, you will die. And I'm using this one now. It's quite strong. It's super fun to use it. You have just one skill, which is a sword slash. You can put all the gems you want, and you cannot use the mace. I thought I'm gonna try to use the mace skills to see if they fit for the sword. They don't. Actually, no. So it's quite limited. I love this game, it's ruined my life for good. If you guys want to add me, it will be a pleasure for me to know new people, new friends that love Path of Exile. We can play together. My name is always Dushok plus something else. In this case, it's Dushok Chaos Fantasy, in honor of Final Fantasy all the time. In this case, I have a sword, like my second weapon. Of course, for beauty, I don't really need any sword. Nobody does for now. And but it's cool because I build the stack of my Tailwind for the Deadeye build without using Lightning Spear, and so consume mana before every boss or every time I go to 0, so I'm a slower. So I need to put the stacks back on for the Tailwind of the Deadeye.